You know, y'all, a lot of times we miss the whole scheme of things because we're not present at this moment. We're so busy trying to figure out what God's gonna do, and that is not our job. Your job simply is to figure out and get clarity around what you want to do in this world. Hey, beautiful ones. Dr. Fran here, back with another quick video. So, before I go any further, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking and subscribing. If you have yet to subscribe, let's do that now. Let's take a minute. We're going to take a pause for the cause. Like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any updates, and make sure you share it with somebody. Tell somebody about it. All right, so here we are, right? And I had to get on and share something with you guys really quick. So yesterday, I was having a conversation with this gentleman about God's plan for our life, right? So he was saying to me that he can always see God's plan for his life in his rearview mirror. He can never see what's ahead for him, right? And he was saying, I just really get concerned because I really just cannot see what God's plan is for me. And as he was talking, I was thinking, and I was listening to Spirit talk to me about this gentleman, right? But not only was Spirit talking to me about this gentleman, Spirit was talking to me about us as physical beings, period, right? So I waited for him to finish. Now we're standing in the middle of this store, and we started talking because he worked at the store and I needed him to help me with something. Let me just say this to you. The divine move of God is very interesting, right? It's something that I will never understand, although I bask in the knowledge and the awareness of Spirit. And I have this gift that I hear very clear. The mysteries and moves of God, no man understands, right? You just kind of get into it and you thirst for it. You love it. You become amazed and in awe with what an awesome wonder God is, right? So there were tons of people working in the store, but I asked him to help me, right? So as we begin to talk, he asked me what my name was. I told him what my name was. And then that's when he began to talk about, this is his name. This is what he does outside of working in this place, et cetera, et cetera. And so he began to tell me the story about, he had his job. He was doing amazing things. And then just out of the blue, the job released him, right? So I thought I'd give y'all a little background on the story. And so I said, well, maybe that was not the place you were supposed to be. That's when he proceeds to tell me about him not being able to see forward. And so as I was listening to him talk, I was just like, oh, here we go, right? Because the Spirit of God is so intelligent and it always wants to help. It knows when to help. But more importantly, the Spirit of God will never intervene in a place where it's not welcome, right? So I said to him, well, maybe, have you ever thought about the fact that God's plan for your life is your plan for your life? And he looked back, he looked at me, he goes, what do you mean by that? And I said, what I mean by that is that we have the free will. We have the power of choice. We can choose to engage in things in our life, and we can choose not to engage in things in our life. Personally, for me, I don't have the energy to engage in things that are non-productive, right? If it's not going to benefit me or the greater good, I just don't have time for it. So I'm really good at identifying, right, what I'm being led to do and what is not for me. A lot of us, we're not there in that space because we don't really know what we want for ourselves. It's very hard to identify what you're being led to do or what you should do if you really don't even know what your desires are. We're kind of all over the place. Like we're back and forth, back and forth. We're not trees planted by the river of the water that are unmovable. We want to chase this thing. We want to chase that thing. We want to do this. Oh, they're doing that. Let me do that. Instead of getting still within ourselves and within our mind and saying, what is it that truly makes me happy? Right? And he says, well, I was really loving what I was doing. I said, okay, well, then why didn't you become intentional about that thing and say, okay, God, universe, spirit. He used God. So I'm assuming that, like I do, he identified God as his higher power. And I said, so why not say, okay, God, this was removed. This door was closed. I'm ready to walk through the next door. I really enjoyed doing this. It really was good for my soul. It fed my soul. It made me feel good. I woke up with excitement to do this, and I'd like more of this, please. Instead of saying, I can't see before me. I said, because when you say, I can't see before me, that's kind of like a cop-out. So you guys know, your girl gonna keep it real with you, right? Y'all know that. We gonna chat, and we're gonna chat about the real, right? So I told him that I felt like when you are saying, I can't see God's plan for my life, it really means, in essence, you don't have a plan for your life. You haven't gotten clear about what it is you really want to see in your life. Clarity breeds results. I say that all the time. And if you have read my book, God's Promises, the ebook God Promises, by the way, we have an online class starting about God's Promises, May 26th. So you need to check that out. I'll leave the link below. I'll be teaching more about the promises of God and how to activate those in your life. But as I was telling him, once you know the promises of God, you know that one of those promises is we have been given the free will and the power to create our life. We have been given the power to speak things into existence. But the problem is with most of us is that we're very impatient. We get very impatient. And I used to be, sometimes still maybe, very impatient, right? And I remember asking God for patience. Now, when I was a younger girl, my grandmother used to always say, you need to have the patience of Job if you want to see God's promises revealed in your life. You can't be impatient. And I would be like, I don't want Job's patience because Job went through a lot of stuff. Job went through a lot of stuff. And I don't want to be that patient, but I used to ask God to increase my patience, right? And every time I would ask God to increase my patience, he would give me something to be patient about. And I did not like it, right? So what I started doing was affirmatively praying patience over my life, right? I am so thankful and grateful for my patience. I am so thankful for the ability to wait with faith and expectancy, knowing that it is done, right? So after I get through kind of ministering to him, because you know that Fran will start ministering at any given moment. No shame, no fear. Use me, Lord, right? Okay. He looks at me and he goes, so tell me again, what do you do? And I didn't even tell him what I did. I had never told him that. So I said, well, this is what I do. And he said, why didn't I know that? And I said, how could you know? And he said, because when you started talking about God, there was a light that just shined from you. He said you already had that light, but it was almost like something just turned on within you and you could just minister to my spirit. He said, and I needed that today because I'm working this job I don't like. He goes, I'm thankful for it because it pays the bills. So this gentleman had the foundation, right? He had the knowledge of what intentions was, how the laws of the universe worked. He had the insight about it, but he wasn't activating that insight because he was wanting to see the plan. You know, y'all, a lot of times we miss the whole scheme of things because we're not present at this moment. We're so busy trying to figure out what's going to happen tomorrow. We're so busy trying to figure out what God's going to do. And that is not our job. It is not your job to figure out what God is going to do. Your job simply is to figure out and get clarity around what you want to do in this world. How do you want to show up? That's your job. And really, that's the only job you have. And then to take inspired action when it is given to you about what you've asked for. Do you understand? We really make this way too hard. It's really very easy and it's very simple. As I stated in the beginning, God is intelligent. The Spirit of God moves intelligently, and it is not to be mocked. So if you are finding yourself seeking and you find yourself around someone who is operating in spirit, but it's not in an intelligent manner, you may want to pray about that because God is intelligent and spirit is intelligent and it moves with elegance and grace in your life. All you got to do is open the door and say, come on in, angels. Come on in, heavenly staff. Guide me, use me, show me. And in the meantime, while y'all doing that, I'm going to be looking for myself and getting clear about what I want to do with this precious life I've been given. Isn't that amazing? All right, guys, make sure you leave me a message, comments. Let me know what you think about this video. I'm so thankful and grateful for each and every one of you. And remember, we are raising consciousness and changing mindsets one video at a time. Peace be with you. Bye for now.